You need the bread to make the pie, to make the zany, to make the ziti. And we can find that way very, very carefully with the astrology for this week. It's very selective, it's very objective, but it's very peaceful and diplomatic. And that is because this week, Mercury is making a shift into the sign of Libra, into its middle earth sign, out of Virgo, its domicile, into Libra, its medium ranger, let's just say. Venus is also changing signs. That's moving one sign behind Mercury in Virgo. Venus has been in Leo since August 25th. It's now going to move into Virgo, where the focus is more on humility and service. More to come on Venus and Virgo later in this video, but first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Maverick Cardi. I do videos on astrology. I do weekly astrology videos and general astrology videos as well. So, talking about this week's astrology, what is going on under the cosmic sky? Well, the very first thing is that on September 15th, the day after the beginning of this week, which is a Monday, we have Venus, our planet of love and bounty and boldty and beauty, sextiling Mars, the planet of our desires, our drive to produce something in the world. Mars is considered exalted in Capricorn. Capricorn is the fire earth sign. Capricorn is the major manifester. It's the goal setter and the goal achiever. So Venus sextiling Mars. We can advance a relationship to connect better with others. Venus is all about that connection, all about that partnership. And we can really do that where we can advance a relationship in very positive types of ways. Maybe your coworkers may help you advance your career in some way, move you up to a higher plane of success, motivate you to be more hardworking, be more ambitious with your goals, and to not be so ambivalent with those goals, to be very decisive. I'm going this way, I'm going to accomplish this thing. I have the blinders on. So you may find that you want to enjoy your life and advance your ambitions. That's something very, very positive with this is the beauty of life is the enjoyment of it. It's not the suffering, it's not the pain, it's the pleasure of life. And we only live one life, so we might as well make it the best that it can be. Um, so enjoy your life and advance your ambitions down to the fine print. You may be drawn to arts and music. This may be, especially if they involve physical, like martial arts, or actually taking action to pursue anything in the art and music arena, Venus, Mars. You may feel like you want to honor your own needs and the needs of those around you as well. That's something very positive with this, is to balance that out. Balance give and take in your relationships. This is also wonderful energy for collaboration, teamwork, having conversations with others in teams. It's good for working in a team with others. And during this day, you want to go after your values and projects. You want to achieve those things very, very selectively. To go after what it is that you value and to live a life that is balanced out. So that is also very important. It can matter tremendously to the end of time. Okay, so moving on right along the Gazeti here, we have something very, very positive going on. Or is it positive? Who knows? But on September 17th, Mercury is going to oppose Saturn at 28 degrees of Pisces. So Mercury's moving at 28 degrees of Virgo, Saturn's moving retrograde in Pisces, close to the end of the sign. Saturn will be in Pisces until February next year. It'll move into Aries full time in 2026. But so what this means is if Mercury is forming a hard aspect to Saturn, now Saturn is all about karma. It's all about you reap what you sow. It's all about you act in certain ways and there are consequences for those actions. Saturn is the realist. It can be very, very depressing. It can be very vibe killing. But it's necessary that we have that objective look at I'm going to act in this way, and these are going to be the repercussions and the results of these actions. And so, if you want your desires and dreams manifested in the world, you're going to have to act for those things. Do the consequence, achieve the consequence of working really hard and getting that reward. So I just wanted to make that connection because Saturn is all about karma. You get what you work for, you get what you deserve. So, or you get what you want. There is the debate, whether you earn things or deserve things. A little bit of both is what I would say. So anyway, so Mercury opposite Saturn. So any kind of research that you want to do, which can help keep your mind busy and occupied at this time is good. So floodletting, lamp lighting, chimney sweeping. These are the kind of things that put the strata in the data to really create that feng shui household that is very, very lucky and enlivened with gold. So there are these feelings of loneliness that can come up, feeling just for no reason, feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling depressed. And it's okay to feel these feelings. And it's important to know that you're not alone in feeling these emotions, that you have people around you that can help you, that can light you up, that can inspire you to enjoy the present moment and enjoy life. Or you can find things to turn that friend upside down. You can find things to uplift your spirits and give you hope and give you comfort. Um, it could be a spiritual practice. It could be listening to a song. It could be watching one of your favorite movies. Whatever it is to uplift your spirit and enliven your soul. So you may need to be mindful of your ventures out there in the world because you may very well go full swing into something and it doesn't turn out to be where you fall off the cliff on your butt. So being mindful and aware of what are our actions that we're putting out into the world and what we're putting out into the world. Is this for my highest good to put this out into the world? Or am I going to have, is my life going to be more negative or more difficult if I don't put this out into the world or if I do put this out in the world? It all depends on um, that circumstance here. So, um, there may be negativity in your relationships. That may be a really, really big theme. Just negative conversations, negative interactions that may come up. And so any mindfulness or spiritual self-help, self-care practices, those are all good to do around this umbrella, around this time, at this spectrum. And so you want to put in this kind of work to do the mindfulness exercises, to take care of yourself. And self-care is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is something that you must do every day if you can, or when you can. Self-care is very, very important. However that looks like for you. It could be a practice. It could be something that you are inclined to do, but self-care should not be just a luxury. There may be lessons that you learn from negative experiences that may come about. These lessons are very high hitting going on right now. Then, September 18th. And by the way, I just want to circle back to lessons. You have all these negative experiences, all these challenging experiences in your life. However, there are lessons to learn from those experiences. Instead of what the universe is doing to you, what is the universe trying to teach you or trying to have you learn through this challenge? Because your soul signed up to go through the trauma and the drama. Your soul signed up to go through the hardship the universe is putting on you. What is the lesson here? Before you go off and think, what did I do to deserve this? What is the universe lovingly trying to teach you through this hard experience? It is hard to believe. It is hard to see if you are in that place. It's very, very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's very hard to see that the universe is on your side, but the universe is always on your side. Is always trying to make you the best that you can be, make you learn, make you much more knowledgeable, much wiser, with a greater sense of self-knowledge and self-understanding. So that's what I want to say on that piece. If you want to clip that part of the video, you most certainly can. So, um, September 18th, Mercury enters Libra. This is big. So, Mercury is our day-to-day communications, or data collecting the details and communication. Libra deals with diplomacy. So naturally, our communication styles and how we interact in our environment is very diplomatic. It's very peacemaking. We want to be the peaceful warrior. We want to be the peacekeeper or the peacemaker. We want to keep the peace. We want to be the diplomat. So this really comes down to being very social. Um, being very social in that sense of the word, being very harmonious. And we want to have balance in our interactions and conversations. That could also be a really, really big thing at this time. We want to be the peacekeeper, as I said before. So considering other points of view is very, very huge for this placement. And this transit is not just sticking to your own point of view, but also opening up and being open-minded towards other points of view. Think in moderation. Don't go, excessive or extreme, but think moderately. We want our thoughts and communications to be balanced. That's also very important. This is good for business dealings. This is good for businesses, for businessmen and advocates also. So then we have Mercury opposite Neptune. So Mercury in Libra at 1 degree, Neptune in Aries at 1 degree, moving retrograde. Neptune's moving retrograde. So Mercury opposite Neptune. So Neptune is dreams, it is escapism, it is fantasy. It's all this kind of derivatives and derogatives. Where are we putting in the fantasy in the time and work to really make it what it can be? We have a lot of mental confusion. A lot of this can very, very put in the foreplay for the suitors of the maker shifting. So mental confusion, being very unsure on a mental level, or relationship issues. Now, it may be very, very difficult to find the truth through the lies, but discern and separate the truth from the lies and choose to go with the truth, choose to follow the path that is the truth. This is the path that I'm going in. Um, and this is where I'm going, and I know this is right, and this is true. This is not good for making important decisions or plans because you may be unsure about details. Um, where the details are not clear and the derivatives are not clear. So, what could be for the case of um, really just waiting till this transit is over before you sign that contract or before that start new business because you might not be clear-minded at this time. Now, be very, very mindful and be very watchful of others in relationships. And are they deceiving you or are they being truthful to you? That's something very, very important. This is wonderful for any kind of creative writing or poetry. This is great for that. What you want to do creatively, give yourself a break. This is very, very important for you to do this and give yourself some slack. You want to process things, think about things very carefully before acting, before making a decision. You want to deduct the taxes. You want to perceive others through a lens of fantasy. You may be perceiving others through a lens of fantasy and idealism, but see who they truly are. Get to the root core of who they truly are. Cut through all the BS and the lies and the cover-ups of others and get into who they truly are. So, um, we want to see things as objectively as we can. See things very, very clearly and as rationally as we possibly can. Now, September 19th, Mercury will trine Uranus. This is huge. Mercury is going to trine um, the revolutionary, the maverick, Lord of the skies, the sudden awakener, Uranus. So Mercury trine Uranus, the very, very big point of this is that there may be changes to your day-to-day environment that may be fairly sudden changes. You may get very, very enmeshed in those kind of sudden changes and those kind of sudden affronts to your bottoms. So, there could be changes in your environment. There could be shakeups in your environment. You're probably big into learning information that you didn't know before. Learning this information, integrating this information, being open to new information. You may have an interest in computer science and technology at this time because those are all Uranus ruled areas, which Uranus rules Aquarius, so it makes sense. So any progressive and revolutionary viewpoint will highly affect your thinking. It's good to make new discoveries, travel new places, find new things, and meet new friends, and make new friends. You may have flashes of insight. Innovative ideas may come into your mind at this time. You may be interested in studying astrology or other occult subjects. This is good for online connection and technology. So that is very, very big at this time as well. So it's good for networking online, communicating online, working with technology. You want to have stimulating interactions with others. That's very, very key here. That is key indeed. Take the pencils and put them in Pennsylvania. So we want to have our interactions not to be flat, to not be boring, to not be silent and whatever. We need to have stimulating interactions. Now, the other aspect going on this particular day is Mercury will trine Pluto. Pluto right now is at 1 degree of Aquarius. It will not move into Capricorn again for another 248 years. So, this is very, very significant. Mercury is in Libra, Pluto is in Aquarius. These are air signs. We're talking, we're communicating, we're extrovertizing. And so it's good for convincing others, good for tapping into their psychology and convincing them and persuading them to do what you want them to do to be on your side. There's this natural ability to be able to do that this time, getting your way with others. Um, Making it's good to make profound and karmic connections with others um that may be beyond the superficial, beyond the surface level interaction, beyond the catstatism level, and going below that to see that these subtle conversations, these subtle interactions may not appeal to you. You want something deep, you want something meaningful. There may also be this understanding of the underworld that will likely be profound. So this understanding will be way later in time and way before time. So this understanding of the underworld goes to that fiery lands with that Ribdis and Scylla and then the mother sacrificing herself and all the stories of the Odyssey that I won't go into here. But anyway, um, we are likely to have a deeper understanding of the underworld. So this is good for investigating and getting into taboo, deep topic areas. So what this means is that we are going below the surface and we are looking at the hidden areas of life, the things that you don't talk about at the dinner table, pulling these things up, studying these things very, very deeply, and solving mysteries about these things. You want to have deep conversations with others, probably discussing these taboo topics. You may be the detective or the investigator. That may be very, very huge for this placement in general. Um, you know, going in with these roles. Self-awareness is very, very important to have at this time. And this is good for meeting a psychologist or past life regressionist to really unpack what is going on in your mind and an emotional level. What is propelling the reasons of why you do what you do? What is the driving force between why you choose to say this or why you choose to do that? That can be huge at this time. It's good to get a psychic reading. Good to get into tarot, astrology, numerology, you name it. Okay. Now, it gets a little bit more physical here because Venus is going to enter Virgo on the same day as all this going on with Mercury. Venus is going to also change signs this week. It will move into Virgo. Now, although I don't believe this, I just want to mention that Venus is considered at its fall position in Virgo. And I think this is because astrologers believe that Virgo approaches love in a very discerning way, in a very particular way. And Venus is love. Venus is enjoying the pleasures of life, attracting. Whereas Virgo has this huge checklist of conditions that this partner must live up to. And if the partner doesn't fulfill those expectations, forget about it. Venus and Virgo people do not at all put up with pettiness, negativity, low gradeness, low intelligence, laziness. They don't put up with that. That's not their wheelhouse. They don't do that. And so they want a relationship that is meaningful for them, that has a functional purpose to it. And so, as I said before, Venus attracts and all this kind of things, but Virgo is very discerning. Virgo is like, it takes a lot of time for Venus and Virgo to commit to that relationship, to really take the hand because they're checking up. They're looking, they're analyzing, they're looking at flaws, they're looking at all the little details. Now, my dad has Venus in Virgo. I believe it took 10 years, if I may not be correct, but around about that amount of time for him to propose to my mom. Because Venus in Virgo, and I'm not exactly sure about that, so don't quote me on that. Something like that. Um, basically it may not be 10 years, but it took a long time. That's my point. It took a long time for my dad to propose to my mom because Virgo, again, has to check in all these areas for this perfect love. And if it's not the perfect love, forget about it. They don't want to be involved with anyone at all. If that love will not be perfect, they're looking, and I think that a phrase invented by Venus and Virgo is be perfect in the partner that you choose. Be perfect in the partner that you choose. Nobody's perfect, but meaning does this partner align with your values, align with your needs on a soul spirit level, align with who will be right for you? Will the relationship be sustainable? Will there be give and take in the relationship? Will they support your passions, etc.? So that's very important to think about. Now, Venus will be in Virgo until October 13th. So we have almost a month of Venus in Virgo. So 24 days of Venus in Virgo. So we want love to have a function, to have a practicality. The love relationship must have a practical application. It must have a practical purpose. Now, Venus in Virgo does not show love through hugs, through kisses, through words of affirmation, whatever the love language might be. It does this through doing practical and humble things to be a service to the other because Virgo is a sign of service. How can I help you? How can I improve you? That's what the Virgo is thinking in their mind. Of course, they probably say that outright, but that's what they're thinking. That they want to help, they want to improve, they want to serve in a very humble way because they have a genuine desire to make a difference in others' lives and they want to be of service. They I don't want to say live to serve, but that's anyone with strong Virgo influence is very oriented and focused on service, the service that you give or the service that others give. And Virgos would definitely appreciate it if others helped the Virgo as well as the Virgo helping them. So, um, so we do things we are acting in service to the partner by mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, cooking the meal, whatever it may be. Acts of service. Be very, very discerning when Venus is a Virgo about who you love. Are they worthy of your trust? Are they the right fit for you? Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I didn't need to repeat that. The things that we enjoy because Venus is values its pleasure, its joy, these things must have practical purposes to them, must have a practical application. To say the difference between Venus wanting to enjoy life and Virgo wanting to get functional, wanting to get structured, wanting to get earthy and serious. You see how different these two energies are. But this is how they come together, is the enjoyment of the practical, the enjoyment of um the details of life, basically. So we're all about self-indulgence during this transit. Or will that be helpful for us? We need to look at where are we overindulging, where are we overdoing it, because Virgo wants to be disciplined, Virgo wants to be balanced. It wants us to maintain our physical health, our mental health. Very, very important. Now, a shadow side of this transit and Venus and Virgo people, they can be really, really picky. Very particular, very, very critical of their partners. I knew somebody who I believe had a stellium of planets in Virgo. I think Sun, Venus, if I have to check his chart again, but Sun, maybe Mercury even, I don't know, but definitely Sun, Venus, and Jupiter. And and this was back when I was in high school. So several years ago from now, from this point that I'm making this video, and there was an experience where we were doing something to help out the school. I just want to say that on my note is that it has something to do with trash and recycling. That's all I remember from it. Um, but he was being really, really critical of me that it has to be done this way, that it has to, and I was getting frustrated and I was feeling drained and I was feeling pulled down and I was feeling angry at this person who had the stellium of planets in Virgo for analyzing. And I knew that he was a Virgo. And following along with the negative stereotype of Virgo, he really mentioned that it's very important to pay attention to details. And I outright said, typical Virgo, all about the details. And that's where it can get to the shadow sides, is being so nitpicky, being so critical, get overlooking the big picture to see the details, of getting caught up in the details of this person did this one little thing wrong, forget about it. Instead of seeing the little thing as a small mountain, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. See the molehill objectively, weighing out the small problems from the big problems, and not blowing up the big problems, making the little problems, making them big problems. Now, this, on the positive side, we can look at nourishing ourselves, nourishing our mind, body, spirit. So, paying attention to our health. So, this can be eating right, eating more healthfully, cutting back on sugar, cutting back on smoking, also. This could be exercising, this could be meditating, this could be yoga. Finding ways to nourish our body, to nourish our mind, to nourish our soul. So, we want to enjoy the things that boost our health. So whatever those things are, we find pleasure in those things now. Now, any business or any career that does have to do with nutrition and well-being is great to look at this time. Now, it's very important for us to be good with money and be open to meeting new people in health pursuit places. So pay really, really close attention to how we're spending our finances. And we meet people from the gym or from work, the park. Um, so we have a lot of commitment and attention to detail at this time. We want to show our love for others by being of service to them. We want to work hard in our relationships to truly be the best that we can be. Um, so are we overgiving? Are we not giving enough? Are we not putting a lot of attention or enough attention and focus on the other person in relationships? I mean, what are we not doing that we could do? What are we not taking that positive action to act and improve ourselves in our relationships? So, where and how do we need to improve our relationships with others? So the focus here is on the details of relationships. Those are the medicine of relationships. It's the little details. The focus now shifts to our values of day-to-day work and routines, and the importance of the little things that define us, who we are, because that's what Virgo is about, the little details that define who we are as a person. That's what Virgo is about. And Virgo can be very spiritual in that way. There's a card from Call Up Your Own Reads and Canon Map Oracle, details. So that tells you right now all the zodiac signs are spiritual in some way or another. So, it's not just Pisces. It's not just the water signs. It's all 12 signs. Virgo included in that. So, are we getting what we deserve in our relationships? That's very, very important to pay attention to being discerning in matters of the heart. We may also see red flags more easily. So we, again, very discerning, picking up on all the cues. We may be looking into somebody, looking into them, and seeing all of the flaws, of seeing all the red flags going on in them, and making decisions of who we're going to spend our time and energy with. Um, based off of those red flags. How many are they? How many red flags are there? Are there any red flags at all? And are this going to hinder your connection to this person? Or is it going to strengthen it? That's your gamut house and uh, choice and option there. So you may be more interested in work and service rather than love. That may be really, really huge. So the focus is on the little things in a relationship. So it's very important that we don't lose sight, that we have perspective, that we view things objectively, that we don't have arguments or conflicts about these small little things like putting the forks up at the dishwasher or, um, you know, putting the right setting on the drawer. I mean, these little things. We want to see them as little things as they are and don't have these petty arguments about these petty things. Again, Venus and Virgo will not tolerate pettiness. They will be looking out for new relationships. And if there is any hint of pettiness, forget it. They're not going to invest their time and energy and value into that relationship. Now, Venus is retrograde in Virgo in the birth chart, which those of you born with Venus retrograde in Virgo were born before 2023. So if you were born in the summer of 1959 or 1991, for instance, you may have Venus retrograde in Virgo. So this means that you are, reevaluating. You're really, really evaluating love and value and what you value. And that Venus in Virgo criticalness is probably amplified, but more on an innermost level rather than external. Because Venus in Virgo is very external. Venus retrograde in Virgo is more on the internal side of things. So, you may be very critical at this time. You may be finding the flaws in things and judging the faults of others. So getting caught in these things. You may be very passionate with earthly delights, appreciating the finer things in life, and Virgo is an earth sign. So enjoying nature, food, simple pleasures, um, all those kind of things. Now, the last aspect that I want to talk about for this week is Venus square Uranus. So Venus is going to hit 1 degree of Virgo square Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini, newly in the sign. So Uranus and Taurus was very difficult because we were resistant to change. But now in Gemini, Gemini is all about changing things up. It likes change, it likes variety, it likes stimulation, it likes novelty. And so we could find this as an easier time rather than Venus and Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus. That was more difficult because both Leo and Taurus square each other in astrology. They're both fixed signs. So um you may break free in your relationships. You may feel the need to do this. You may feel the need to liberate yourself. How and where are you confining your relationships? You may need stimulation in your relationships. Do not ignore or suppress your need for excitement and freedom in relationships. That's very, very important. You may be interested to meet people from different cultural backgrounds than your own. There may be intense conflicts with others due to differing opinions and differing values and those clashing up. It may be hard for you to assert your need for individuality, space, and freedom in relationships. It's good for any art and creative writing if you're into that, and the finances and money may be unstable. So it's good to be mindful of that. Keep things in a safe stash and live the lemon pot. So that is your astrology for the week of September 14th, 2025. I will be back tomorrow in a couple of days to film a video all about Mercury in the zodiac sign of Aquarius in the birth chart. So I'm almost done with the Mercury through the sign series. Pay attention for that video coming up in a couple of days. I will see you in that video, and I will see you next week to discuss the astrology of next week. So that would be the week of September 21st, where there's the solar eclipse on September 21st, and it is big. So I'm going to talk about that um, quite a bit in next week's video. Anyway, bye for now.